I'm gonna want some gas for this.
Oh, thank God. I thought you weren't gonna use any.
Oh, the gas isn't for you, Seymour. It's for me. You see, I want to really enjoy this.
Please remember, the views and opinions expressed by this show or any other show on DV Radio and its guests are strictly those of said individuals and do not reflect those of the DV Radio staff, nor the staff of Dysfunctional Veterans.
I'm Nevermore, and I'm not normally this pleasant sounding.
I'm Frosty, and I'm just a frozen asshole.
And that's right, you got DV Hoik who loves to play and shit. I mean, no, wait a minute, hold on.
And they really didn't name y'all Asshole 1 and 2?
That's what the boss calls us.
2 people remember me and 1 folks, Mom.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
We were a little bit soggy.
Boiled bacon.
That's right.
And I'd like to introduce DV Midnight Backdoor for all your backdoor needs.
You know what that means.
We will talk really slow for you.
I don't know, some of those nights at work.
I'd say that's a different little bird.
Welcome to Frag Out, Drag Out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special edition of Frag Out, Drag Out, brought to you by WDVR. Hey, brought to us also by K-Bar Soap Company and NFG Vets. Thank you guys for sponsoring us. And welcome tonight is my guest, Frosty, of course, the frozen fucker, and one special guest tonight, our very own PTSDog, Joaquin Juatai. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you doing tonight?
You know, living the dream. Living the dream.
Every time somebody says living the dream, have you ever seen that cartoon with the dog sitting like at a coffee bar in hell and everything's on fire and he's sipping coffee and he goes, "This is fine. Everything's fine."
It's kind of like that one video that had the vet sitting there at that bar. The guy busts in with his, the whatever fucking gun he had. Dude just lights up a smoke and says, "Fuck it, whatever."
he just sits there, doesn't talk, doesn't nothing. He's just sitting there drinking his drink.
Yep.
Yep. Zero fucks given.
That's right. How you doing, Frosty? You got the Los Anchorage in full swing tonight?
Yeah, they're a little quieter than normal, but not much. Doing pretty good over here.
Oh, shit.
Where are you?
Yep.
Over on the south side, Frosty?
Yeah, I'm on the south side.
You living in Mountain View?
No, Jewel Lake area.
Okay. Jewel Lake. I grew up last couple of years of high school. I lived in Diamond Lake.
Yeah, so you know what it's like around here.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that bad, back in the odd zeros when I was young. Actually left the state in 1990.
Wow, we can almost call this the Alaska edition.
Things have definitely changed since then. That's for damn sure, though.
I'm sure they haven't been back since, I don't know. I guess it was stationed at Whidbey, so 2002, 2003. Been a long time. You know that big hospital over there on Elmendorf?
Of course.
I put the roof on that sucker.
Well, you need to take it down because it ain't worth a shit right now. Let me tell you. Oh, it's a different story, I guess.
That leaky thing?
Oh, my gosh, no. Everybody complains about the VA and the crappy treatment we get there, but I'm telling you guys, for retirees, TRICARE isn't much better, let me tell you.
Well, I think healthcare in America in general is screwed up, but
oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, my sister, when she just got out of the hospital, if you want to call it a hospital, I call it a glorified fucking Band-Aid station. They're in Central Illinois, a town of like 5,000 people, and she's going in there. Her face is all swollen up, and she's sick to her stomach, puking and everything else. And they're like, "Yeah, you need a dentist, and you need here's just some antibiotics. You're on your way and discharge."
Motrin water, change your socks. Get out of here.
yep,
Pretty much. Pretty much. But I think it was more of, "Here is your dough, here is your water, and go take it. Yep, you come back again. Thank you very much."
Yeah.
I mean, it's for a small, like I said, town of 5,000 people in the middle of the heartland of America, and you got a shit ton of foreign doctors coming in, so they don't keep the same
residency
ones.
somewhere.
This is true.
And that's literally what they're doing is the schools are farming out residents. If we need a doctor, freaking Podunk, Idaho, and they're just shipping them wherever,
Yep, I remember our family doctor. He was, believe it or not, he was actually on both hands, missing his ring finger and his middle finger. But he was also a surgeon, believe it or not. He was one of the best doctors in that town. But
On both hands?
on both hands, believe it or not, yes, both hands. I don't know what the fuck happened to him, but he was actually our family doctor for the longest time.
Surgical accidents.
Look, I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what could a surgeon be doing to lose those fingers.
Well, let's just hope he wasn't a brain surgeon. I mean, well,
I'm still trying to think how he lost his fingers, and I'm thinking, stirrups and freaking, those medical metallic spreading devices were involved. Like dual pelvic exams. I don't know. How do you lose those fingers on both hands? That's a weird injury, man.
oh shit. Oh yeah, that son of a bitch. I had a 2nd-degree burn on my foot, and he just, it was like a week after. Of course, I go in, have a big old scab going over, and it's infested, and shit's pussing underneath it, and yep, we got to get that scab off of there to let that stuff out of there. So he just grabs the fucking tweezers and pokes right into that fucking sore and just rips that goddamn scab right off of my foot.
Old school doctor.
Old school doc.
Rip.
Yes, sir. And I'm probably 11, 12 years old, and I'm about to say every cuss word under the sun. And my mom's like, just bite down hard, honey. Yeah, I'm going to bite down hard, all right. Give me his good thumb. I'll make sure this bitch is gone, too.
Nice.
But, yeah.
Maybe he used to be a dentist.
That could be.
of the Steve Martin variety in
Does it have to be human?
Does
it have to be mine?
Come on, what was the movie?
Missy Mo.
With Audrey, the plant. Little Shop of Horrors.
That's right, boy.
You guys haven't seen Little Shop of Horrors?
Sorry, I was coughing up a lung. Yes, yeah, we
Steve
have.
Martin played the dentist, remember?
Yep.
Yes, that was a good one.
The sadistic
With Rick
dentist.
Moranis.
Yeah. Well, Steve Martin made that into that whole. The movie was dreadful, except for Steve Martin as the dentist. So, what'd you guys do this weekend? Anything interesting?
No, a whole lot of nothing, to be honest with you. I've had some hip injury. I won't say injury. I mean, I haven't done anything to the fucking thing, but some soreness in the right hip. So I've been seeing physical therapy for a while. So I've been just laying low, taking it easy, man.
Well, just working on my transition so I'm ready when I go back to mid shift.
Oh, you got to work mids.
Oh, I love it, but I just got to get stuff done around the house before I shift to that shift, because neighbors get a little upset when you start banging on stuff at 3:00 in the morning on your day off.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're not banging their wives, I guess, how upset are they going to
Well,
get?
there's a few that,
Hey, now.
The kids are out of the house by that time, so I'm good to go. I just got my mom to worry about. Oh, well.
I had a couple of very interesting days. I drove all the way to Wilkesboro, North Carolina. It's up in the northwest corner of the state, just shy of the Virginia state line, but a little further west than where D.V. Bonerwood lives, and met an author, a gentleman named Steve Slane, who's a U.S. Army veteran and served with the 10th Mountain Division in Somalia at the very beginning of our involvement in Somalia, and was there until about, I think it was 3 weeks or a month before the the most famous thing that happened in Somalia, which is the Black Hawk Down incident. And he wrote a book about it called Behind the Gun, Poncho's Last Walk. And let me tell you, I could not put this book down. I literally could not put it down. I read it in 2 days. And I consider myself an extremely slow reader. So that was really cool to get to go meet him, and we swapped signed copies of our books. And then today I went to the Fall Jubilee festival in Salisbury, North Carolina, which is just 20 minutes south of us, except it's not because it's in this big park. And that's like 10 miles outside of Salisbury, but I guess the address is qualified as Salisbury. And I met Furman Lopez, who was an Army veteran who was a participant on Forged in Fire. So that was kind of cool.
Sounds like it, man. I mean,
It was actually, well, the crowd, let me tell you, the crowd at the Wilkesboro event was freaking enormous. And thank God for Skeeter, because if he hadn't been with me, what the hell was that?
holy hell, that was loud. That's what it was.
Yeah. Anyway, if Skeeter hadn't been with me, I wouldn't have, I would have turned around and left and been like, you're on your own, bro.
Nani? Bruh.
What the hell? What are you doing over there? Yeah, it was fun. It was cool. And I'm hopefully doing some horse trading with Mr. Lopez and get him to build me a special knife for using on the lathe. So we'll see.
Nice. Speaking of which, how's that project going? Because I know you've made quite a bit of different things, and there was last thing I think I seen was there was a certain project that was a love of yours, but a kicking your ass at the same time.
That bowl. Well, I'm working on a bowl, and I'm having some issues with it. And the last week, I think, believe it or not, the last week has been the hottest of the summer. It did not get below 80 degrees even overnight. So my shop never got below 90. So it's been about a week since I've been in the shop. And I have a bowl, which I was working on. I turned it around and was hollowing out, and it jumped out of the jam chuck and bit me. I got a nice little scab on the back of my hand and a bruise. And so I set it. It didn't screw up the bowl too bad. So I set it aside and walked away, and then it got hot. So clouds moved in Saturday, and the temperature dropped 30 degrees, and it's cool. So I should be able to get back into the shop this week and see if I can tackle that sucker and finish it. And I'm hoping it's going to work out just right because it's got a really big bark inclusion in it in a weird shape. And I'm hoping what I can do is I have a deer antler that might fit perfect, almost as though it was a handle made for the bowl, right in through that bark inclusion. If it works out, it'll be really cool. If it doesn't work out, it'll still be cool. But
That sounds like it, man.
yeah. Well, I haven't shared any pictures because it has been a fight. I'm telling you, I've been wrestling this sucker. But I think it's going to turn out pretty good looking. It's made out of cherry, and the cherry wood I've got is quite beautiful. I've got some really great grain in it, so we'll see. It's also very fickle, and I blow it up regularly. The cherry wood is brittle, man. I'm telling you, this stuff it's all crotch wood, so the grain's going every which direction. It's not straight grain at all, and it's fickle. It has a mind of its own.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you got some chips to do some smoking with, I guess.
Well, that's exactly it. I can use the wood shavings and chunks for smoking. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
It's great in the smoker, man.
Heck yeah.
Cherry wood's great in the smoker. I love turning it too because when I turn this cherry wood that I have, my whole shop smells like maraschino cherries.
Mm.
It's really cool. It's just like it smells so good while I'm turning this wood. Better than
Makes for a nice work environment.
Yeah, I mean it's like little essential oils, little cherry flavored essential oils. It's calming. It's very soothing. It's very soothing. I know we usually have like on Frag Out. It's really funny is the audience doesn't know this, but I basically engineer this show. I do the recording and everything while you guys do your thing.
Do our bantering.
Yeah, do your bantering and everything. And I can't even remember what the usual format, I guess, is. What you guys go over. I remember one feature after the break is the Frag Out.
I was going to say, we don't either because we make it up as we go.
Okay, cool. Well, we're not going to fuck this up and Nevermore won't be pissed at us. Or we'll fuck it up royally and she'll be like, I can't trust you to do anything.
Just remember, brother, you gotta live with her.
See, this is being recorded, so I can't agree or disagree. No. I gotta really watch myself here. This is a situation where imminent death could occur because it's her show.
That's a true statement.
And I sleep soundly, unfortunately. Wake up with a fucking pair of scissors sticking out of my chest.
Sadly, I could almost see that happening if something happened to. Oh shit!
No, she wouldn't kill me. She'd make me suffer, but she wouldn't kill me. She'd probably cut off my middle and ring finger on each hand.
Right?
Now we get it. Now we understand what happened to the doctor.
That's right. You pick 2 fingers or 1 penis. So 2 fingers or 1.
Take the fingers, please.
He fucked up twice, obviously.
Run.
For real.
Or in the doctor's case, maybe 4 times.
Well, let's hope not. Oh shit. But yeah. No, I've been going to the fucking physical therapy for this hip, and my blood pressure has been skyrocketing for, I don't know, last week and a half, 2 weeks. In the 150s, 160s, believe it or not, the top number. And yeah, been trying to get a new blood pressure cuff. And, you know, several years ago, about 5 years ago, the TRICARE issued me, whatever the hell you want to call it, an actual blood pressure monitor. Well, the damn cuff is too small. It doesn't fit around my arm anymore because I got all swole. More ways than one, I guess. But the cuff doesn't fit anymore. So I called them up and said, hey, I need a new cuff. Well, we don't do that. Okay, great. How about a new machine? So they go, I have to ask a nurse. So he goes and asks the nurse. Nurse comes back. He comes back on the phone. No, we don't issue new machines unless yours is broke. Well, this thing is technically broke. It doesn't work anymore, right? I mean, the cuff doesn't fit, so I gotta go ask a nurse. No, our insurance doesn't do that. So I'm like, you know what? Piss on it. So yeah, we're trying to find something that's gonna work because my physical therapist, she doesn't like my blood pressure being so damn high.
Yeah, I have never really had to worry about my blood pressure, so thankfully.
It's weird. Yeah, and it's weird because I take my medication.
Well, but see, that's kind of funny because you as a retiree, you're using TRICARE. Now, as far as equipment goes, from the VA, I've got 2 CPAPs. All I got to do is go in and ask. I've got a TENS unit. I've got the sugar meter, and they just fucking throw equipment at us. Seriously, like, oh, you got something going on wrong. Look, my original CPAP, there's a card in it that's supposed to use the cell phone network to transmit data back to the VA, and the card burned out. CPAP works fine. It just doesn't transmit data, right? So they just replaced the whole thing with a brand new one. These are like $12,000 machines. They're not cheap.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And they're just like, oh, here, just take a new one. Keep that one in case this, you're traveling or something. I'm like, okay. So, if I have to sleep in my recliner because my back's real bad, I have a backup CPAP. I don't have to, break down the one in the bedroom, bring it out to the living room, But, yeah, I really haven't seen them not, kind of dump equipment on us, on anybody, really. I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, one thing I've noticed up here, too, is every time I go in, you need a new blood pressure cuff? All your other stuff good? It's like, yeah, everything's good. I think they've given me like 4 or 5 different cuffs.
Yeah, I'm not surprised if it doesn't, result back to the person I was talking to as well, because like I said, I could ask him, what's your name? Oh, let me ask a nurse. And it was like a telephone conversation of 20 minutes. Let me ask the nurse. And I was like, really, dude?
You can't even tell me your own name?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. So, yeah, maybe I'll just go in there tomorrow and talk to the doc. I got to swing in there on Tuesday anyway, so.
There you go. Just take the cuff that doesn't fit in and be like, I'm supposed to be monitoring my blood pressure. You tell me how I'm supposed to.
Well, the sad thing is I thought I could just, Amazon and, buy a new cuff for the same machine, or at least the parent company of the machine, right?
Right.
So I matched it up and bought a new cuff. It came in. I plugged it into this little machine, and dude, it turned my arm purple. And after a minute and a half of my fucking arm sitting there tingling and this cuff not releasing pressure, I'm like, I'm about to grab a pair of scissors and pop this motherfucker because it was hurting. So we tried it 3 more times just to make sure.
We'll put it around your neck.
I thought about it, but oh shit.
Oh, Frosty, I thought about you yesterday when I went and met Steve Slane, that author, because he was a grunt, and we were joking about. He said something about he said something about not bad for a grunt, and I said, well, did you write it in crayon? He said, I sure did. And then my 4-year-old put it in Microsoft Word for me.
Well, I wasn't a grunt, but yeah.
But I'm saying, Marines and crayons, grunts and crayons, I thought that was funny that he brought it. He's the one who said he wrote it in crayon. So, yeah, it was pretty good.
I believe we've had multiple conversations about me eating crayons at work, and it's got the new hire a little confused.
Civilian, I take it.
Well, she is now. She just used to work next door as an airman.
Oh,
just not used to that.
So, she was pretty much the next best thing to a civilian anyway, even while she was in. So,
very true.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Even that's what I like so much about the brotherhood, though, is we can bag on each other and give each other shit about eating Marines and grunts eating crayons and chair force and gay Navy. We can joke and we can do all of that, but when it comes down to it, and a brother reaches out and needs help,
we got each other's back.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has a problem with dropping whatever it is they're doing to pick up the phone or, drive over to buddy's house. It's not a big deal, We look out for each other. It doesn't matter what service we were in. It doesn't matter what era we were in. At least, I would say the majority of the veterans who I know, who I've connected with. And that's something powerful when you can reach out on a Facebook page and say, hey, I need some help. And all of a sudden you get 30 veterans out your door, help you move or, help you fix your roof or whatever, and they do that. They just fucking drop everything and take their weekend and do whatever they need to do. And there's a lot of veterans, a big percentage of the veteran community that does that. And that's something I don't think anybody else, except maybe law enforcement and first responders, I don't think they understand that brotherhood, And that was what was so cool. When I met Steve, was he gave me a hug. He's like, it's good to finally meet you. We've been bantering on Facebook for a year and a half. And it was like, we'd known each other for forever. We need to take a quick break for DV Radio to fulfill its responsibilities. I don't know, because Bo likes to play some obnoxious crap for us or something. I don't know. Anyway, you are listening to Frag Out, Drag Out. I am not Nevermore. Right here on DV Radio, WDVR. We need to give a thank you and a huge shout out to our sponsors, NFG Vets, and of course, K-Bar Soap Company. It'll make you squeaky clean.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
In fact, it'll make you so clean, you don't squeak anymore. K-Bar Soap, check it out. We'll be right back.
DV Radio.
Shooters Express is Charlotte's #1 destination for all personal defense, sport, instruction, and recreational shooting supplies. They offer concealed carry classes for only $29.95. That's only $29.95 for concealed carry classes. And if you're military or law enforcement, you'll receive great deals and be eligible for even more at Shooters Express. So head over to Shooters Express in Belmont, North Carolina, or visit shootersexpress.com for more information and monthly deals. That's Shooters Express in Belmont, North Carolina.
This is not a paid endorsement from Shooters Express and is provided solely by DV Radio for your charge. Nothing interesting on TV? That's why you're listening to dvradio.net WDVR.
This ain't reality TV!
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Oh, well, isn't that special?
Laddie, don't you think you should rephrase that?
Mama said that. Mom. Good day, sir!
Now class is dismissed, gentlemen.
Are you looking for veteran resources and peer support? Objective Zero has an app for that. Download the Objective Zero app for free from the App Store or Google Play. Access wellness resources like yoga and a free year subscription to Headspace, the world's most popular meditation app. Check out veterans resources and access our nationwide network of peer support. Speak to fellow women veterans or someone in your field and branch of service. You get to choose who you want to chat with. Learn more at www.objectivezero.org. That's www.objectivezero.org.
We're back on the air.
And welcome back to Frag Out, Drag Out with your host, myself, DB Oink, DB Frosty, and our special guest tonight, Joaquin Juatai, PTSDog. Woo! I'm glad we took a break. I had to pee. How about y'all?
It was the sound of Skeeter drinking that made you had to go, huh?
Water going in, water going out.
Oh, shoot.
I got a frag out for you guys tonight.
Ooh, you throwing it out there now already?
I'm throwing it out right now because I think it's something we need to talk about. So I'm just going to say it. It's time. It's time to get into this because I'm pissed. I'm pissed right now.
Oh. And you want to say it, or you want one of us to say it?
One of you say it.
So let's tell you what. Let's pull the pin and let's frag out.
Frag out.
Listen.
Now listen to me, all of you. You too.
There are veterans out there who do a lot to help each other and to promote each other and to get each other out there and into the public and get each other's message out there and get each other's projects, whatever they're doing. Say like I said, I went and met another veteran who's an author on Saturday for the sole intent of congratulating him, trading books with him, and just trying to get his name out there. I've been sharing it on my page for over a week since he said the book it's out there, it's published, it's available on Amazon. Has nothing to do with service dogs. It's just another veteran. It's a brother who wrote his book as part of his therapy, as part of his recovery after his experiences in the military and as part of his recovery from PTSD. And he didn't ask me to do this. I've been following this guy for over a year. I've been watching progress and I've been watching what's going on. And what was really cool was he planned out the publication of the book to coincide with the anniversary of one of his buddies' birthday in the day that he was wounded and became a quadriplegic in Somalia. And that was cool. And the sole reason I want to do anything to try to promote this guy is just, look, here's somebody who's found a way to heal. And as much as PTSDog is about service dogs, it's about PTSD and it's about healing. And so, you know what? I'll push this guy any way I can. I'm working to get him on Barracks Talk. I actually did an interview with him for DV Radio, recorded it. I want to promote this guy. And we have the tool available with WDVR, DV Radio, to do that. And whether he knows it or not, DV Radio is going to promote veterans. That's what DV Radio does, and DV Radio is all about that. In the same way, DV, I used DV. I absolutely used DV. When I started the PTSDog project, I posted on 5 or 6 veterans pages. I posted regularly my posts, and I shared them. I shared them to disgruntled veterans. I shared them to dysfunctional veterans. And I didn't stop. And every time I wrote something, I shared it on these veterans pages. And you know what happened? Nevermore got fed up with seeing my posts on the disgruntled vets page and messaged me and said, "What's this all about? Come on our radio show, Disgruntled Discussions, and talk to us about it." And I did. And I explained the mission. I explained about service dogs. I explained what I was doing. I was writing a book. And they said, "That's great." And they promoted me. And the page started sharing my stuff. And they turned around and contacted DV Radio and DV6 and said, "Hey, you get this guy on Barracks Talk." And they did. And I'm going to tell you right now, PTSDog, the book, wouldn't exist without dysfunctional veterans and without DV Radio. The Service Dog Show with PTSDog, my radio show, wouldn't exist without DV Radio. I wouldn't have been able to publish my book, PTSDog, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder and the Service Dog, without the support of DV Radio. I got what I wanted out of DV. I used them, absolutely used them. Got what I wanted out of them. So what do you give an organization that's bigger than you when you start in return because they supported you while you grew? What do you do, Here's what I did. I support DV Radio. I support dysfunctional veterans. I run fundraisers for the DV Farm on my page regularly. When people say, "Hey, I had an access issue and I had to file a complaint with the Department of Justice because I was denied service because of my service dog, and part of the settlement is they have to donate money to a charity of my choice, and they want to give it to PTSDog." Well, PTSDog is not a 501c3 or a C19. Not yet, anyway. So you know where I send them to send their money? The DV Farm. I owe my business's existence to the support I got from bigger businesses, and specifically from dysfunctional veterans. So I support dysfunctional veterans, and I support DV Radio 110% because they gave me everything.
So how dare you be loyal to them?
Right. Okay. But and you know what? And this goes the same with other organizations. I'm sure it's happened to Grunt Style, it's happened to Nine Line, it's happened to Black Rifle. You got these guys who are out there who want to get famous, and they, I'll go work for so and so, and I'll go do this, and I'll go do that, right? And they want to get big, and their name gets out there, and as soon as they get what they want, they cut ties. After that organization backed them, gave them, did whatever they could to help them get their stuff and them out there. As soon as they get that big contract, or they get that big sale, or they get that, whatever it is, ghost them. You want to talk about Blue Falcon? You want to talk about buddy fucking? You want to talk about stabbing your brother in the back? Really, guys? This is how veterans are doing one another? One of the coolest things I liked about that book, Behind the Gun, by Steve Slane, who I met on Saturday, is how well he illustrated what brotherhood really meant in the service. And these guys, 30 years later, still visit each other, the surviving ones. They still talk to each other. They have reunions. Every couple of months they get together for somebody's birthday or just because. These guys really lift each other up and build each other up constantly, and I love the camaraderie. And when I went and met this guy, a perfect stranger with a copy of my book in one hand and Skeeter's leash in the other, he gave me a hug and said, "Man, it's good to see you, brother. I know we've been talking to each other on Facebook for a long time. It's nice to finally meet you." Like we'd known each other for the past 30 years. That's how we're supposed to be treating one another.
Yep. most definitely. I mean, for example, when I came back, over the July 4th weekend, I had a choice to go north or south. And, with everything that was going on the farm, I decided to go south, meet up with Bo, and, had the chance and obviously the opportunity, because you guys are pretty close, in relationship-wise there in the state. And, I got to spend a couple hours with Bo. First time I ever met him, him and his mom. It was like, no shit, we served together. Obviously, he was Army and I was Air Force, but, we sat there and we shot the shit. The wife was there, my son was there, and it was like family. It really was. And then it was, a couple hours later, we hit the road and we drove, a couple hours, if that, over to visit with you in Nevermore. And same thing. We never met in person, but we've always chatted online and everything else. That camaraderie, that brotherhood, that sisterhood, ship, between one another, the services, you could be Air Force, you could be Navy, you could be Marines. It doesn't matter. We all served. We all, did the same thing, which was to support and defend the Constitution. So we have that commonality, common thing that draws us together. And to step over those lines and to, God, I hate to say it, but backstab one another. I hate to see that.
Blue Falcons.
Exactly.
I mean, seriously, you couldn't get more Blue Falcon. How much more Blue Falcon could I be if, say, I got a contract with Random House for my next book and was like, well, they're doing all my advertisement shit now. See ya, DV. Really? I can't even imagine doing that. I would demand as part of my contract that WDVR, DV Radio, and the DV Farm be beneficiaries in some form or fashion of, say 10% of the income or whatever. I would find a way to make sure that I gave back, and I would also demand exclusivity to maintain the Service Dog Show on DV Radio, because Bo is where, he gave me the start. He helped me build. Why would I walk away from that,
Exactly. And for somebody that spends as much time as that guy does, to edit, to build, to come up with new ideas, to try to make things work, to turn your back on him.
Look, if somebody came to me and said, look, we'll give you $20,000 a month to do your show on our network, I would say, well, I do my show on WDVR, so, maybe you can syndicate with WDVR, but I owe it to them. As much as I could use $20,000 a month, guess what? My principles aren't worth money. Not in my mind, anyway. Maybe that makes me an asshole, and maybe that makes me naive. I don't fucking know. But you know what? I'm not going to turn my back on DV. I owe everything to the organization, to the support that they've given me. Why would I turn my back on it? Why would I turn my back on DV Radio,
Exactly.
Well, this is where I've had a voice since the very beginning of my mission. Turning my back on them, you know what? If I couldn't walk up to Bo and say, I'm done, man, I got to go. They're giving me more money, which I couldn't. I couldn't do that. I couldn't walk up to Bo and say, they're giving me more money, so I'm out. See you later. I can't do that.
Yep.
I can't do that.
And what about you, Frosty? Let's be honest here for a second. You were the one that told me about DV Radio. Obviously, like I said, I was a fan of the DV page for quite a while. You mentioned DV Radio to me and got me involved with these guys, and now you've came in a little bit later than JJ and I have, and you've seen the so-called business side that, we're all volunteers, obviously. What does that loyalty and everything mean to you?
Well, from what I'm seeing, you got that a little backwards on the timeline, but that's okay.
Well, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, but I know what you meant. But from what I'm seeing from my end is I'm just kind of at a loss, because I'm coming in right now, within the last year, and wondering what the heck's going on. I'm seeing stuff, people leaving, shows leaving, trying to figure out where the page is getting dumped, and I'm kind of like, what did I get into?
Well, that was fucking Zuckerberg.
Well, I understand that, but I'm seeing all this stuff going on, and then it's like, what's happening? Is this platform I finally get involved with, what's happening to it? And it's left me kind of, almost want to say lost, because it's not sure what's happening.
You know, it's see this a lot in society. You get your rabble rousers who decide decide that they're offended, and veterans do it too. I'm offended. That offends me. Guess what? That's your personal choice to be offended, or you can be like a duck and just let the water flow off your back. And
Exactly.
you know, I got to listen. There was some shit that went on during my service that did. You know what? I could have got all bent out of shape and been like, this offends the hell out of me. Or I could say, look, if they do something criminal, it's going to bite them in the ass. But otherwise, you know, they're not hurting anybody but themselves. Let them dig their own fucking grave.
Yep.
It's none of my business. Unless I see somebody doing something blatantly illegal or dangerous, it'll bite them in the ass if that's what needs to happen, you know?
Yep. Well, you know,
I choose to get offended. That's your choice. Nobody
Sure, but-
offends you. You choose to be offended.
Yep. And I'm a true believer in karma. I mean, obviously, look at, you know, the stupid ass, you know, what's his name? Fucking the 49ers, Kaepernick. His old kneeling thing in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if anybody else watches the NFL anymore or not. I know a lot of veterans turned it off and refused to go back and look at it. I watch it now and again because I am a fan of the team. And guess what? I don't see anybody kneeling anymore.
Uh-huh.
And what was he kneeling for in the first place? I guarantee you probably half the people out there don't even know.
Yeah.
So obviously it wasn't that important.
And that, well, and it obviously wasn't so important that people continued to kneel.
Yep.
We right now, so the way society works is everything's about the shock value. Get the shock value because that sells. You know, if it bleeds, it leads. Get the shock value, and that gets sales, and that gets, you know, this, and that gets that. They go for the shock value, but they're missing substance. There's no substance, and that's a shame. I mean, it's just fucking criminal what the media has done, even in the veteran community. You know, a small group of vocal veterans decide that this or that offends them, and all of a sudden there's this whole big issue, and it's like, the fuck did they ever do to you? You know?
Yep.
And turning your back on an organization who gave you a start. And you know, I don't know if how many listeners know this, but we don't have to pay DV Radio to air our shows. We don't pay Bo to edit our stuff. I keep trying to get, well, I'm having software issues, but I keep trying to get Bo to just give me the files so I can give him completed radio programs so he doesn't have to worry about my show. Because I have the skills and the ability to do that. I've got the training to do it. It's senseless for Bo to have to do it. Once we get my software issues fixed, if I ever remember to take my damn laptop up to his house, you know. I went and visited Bo after I went and met Steve Slane. I went and hung out with Bo, and we shot shit for a couple hours. It was great. And I looked at him, I'm like, God damn it, I forgot to bring my laptop so we could try to figure out what's wrong with that program. I also forgot to take him curtains, so, you know. I did, however, take him a new drawer to replace the wrong drawer because the two dressers, we gave him one of a pair of matching dressers and two bottom drawers accidentally. So the second bottom drawer didn't fit in the middle of the dresser where we stuck it because, you know, it was a bottom drawer. So I did remember to take him a new drawer. So,
oopsie.
Yeah, we swapped out the wrong drawer for the right drawer. So
yep,
we did do that. That was, it only took us like 2 months. So, you know, whatever.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, you know what? I don't care who you are. Well, no, let me say, most veterans, when they ask who had a major influence in their lives, most veterans are at least going to say either one of their drill instructors' names or the name of one of their NCOs at their first command. I know I could name one of my drill instructors and my first NCO as people who had major influence in my career and in my life and the formation of who I am today. Okay? In the same way, if you're working with a veteran organization like DV Radio, WDVR, you can say the same thing. You know, I can remember before I had the book, but I was still on DV Radio talking to these guys regularly. And whenever they had a question about service dogs, they came to me because they saw that I knew what I was talking about, that I was doing the studying, doing the research, and they supported me in my project. And DV6 looked me in the eye and he said, "You said you were going to write a book and you did it." He said, "Not many people do that. What do you need? How can I support you?" And I said, "At this point, you've done everything I could have asked of you. Let's just continue being, our partnership. That's all I ask, You helped me get here. Why would I turn my back on you? Why are we doing this shit?" And yeah, veterans are people too. But why are we doing this shit to each other? Think about it, man. How does that build the veteran community? Turn your back on other veterans because you got what you wanted out of them. Fuck that. Blue Falcon motherfucking shit. Fuck it.
That's right.
That is some Blue Falcon shit right there, you buddy fucking motherfuckers.
Well, and to go along with that, for those of you that have been following Frag Out, Drag Out for a while, if you remember a few episodes back, or one of our early episodes, I wrote a opinion piece that kind of covered a lot of this, and it's basically whatever some of this stuff is that people are getting offended by, it might be what helps that particular vet get through their day.
Yep.
And you got to look at it from that side too.
Yep, most definitely, because there's people that, I don't know if they messaged you, Frosty, yet or not, but I've actually had a couple people message the DV Oink Facebook page and say, hey, or even email, at oink@dvradio.net. Actually email us and say, hey, I appreciate you guys doing the radio show. It gives me a break. It gives me that piece of camaraderie, that togetherness that I missed from being in the service. Thank you. And to see in those words in writing, that's all we need. That's all. We don't expect $1 million or anything like that. That's all we think is a thank you. And,
not that we would turn it down if anody.
No, by all means.
DV Radio.
Exactly.
Remember, DV Radio is still looking for that $1 million sponsor.
So
sign up now.
That's right. But hey, to all those that actually do listen and to these shows, all of them, we appreciate your support. So
absolutely. I found out that one of the shows I did garnered $30,000 in donations to the organization that I featured on my show. I had no idea I had that kind of reach.
Wow.
That blew my mind, because I can't, the way things work, Bo and I can't always see who's listening to my show or when, but you never know who's listening. That may have been one donor, or that may have been 30 donors. We don't know,
and it's still hard to believe that some people, even up here in Alaska, haven't not heard of DV Radio. Believe it or not.
well, even to go with that, Operation Zero. They got their start, announced it on Barracks Talk, and look at where they're at now.
Yeah. And what they're doing, and they've won multiple awards, national awards, from the VA, from the Department of Defense, from the Department of the Army. I mean, they're, and they're doing it. They're out there doing it, just like DV6 said to me. You told me what you were going to do, and then you did it. Not many people do that. But guess what? There are people out there doing it, like OZ, K-Bar Soap Company, one of our sponsors. Thank you very much.
Woo! Yeah. Do, yeah.
Our other sponsor, NFG Vets, kind of took their initial idea from basically copying DV Dysfunctional Veterans Facebook page, and they're trying to make it go from there.
Instead of spitting in the eye of the people who gave you a hand up, why not, why not continue to build the partnership and strengthen each other? Don't turn your back on them because you got what you wanted. What the fuck's that about? Build each other up. Continue the partnership. Work together. Support one another. Any way you can, even if it's just mentioning them once in a while on your radio show. What does it cost you to say thank you?
Exactly.
What does it cost?
I've seen so many, whether it's on Yelp reviews or whatever, whenever something negative happens, people don't hesitate to leave a negative review, but so rarely does someone take the time to sit down and write a positive one.
Yeah, and that's something, I've always tried to make sure that I do. It's real easy to report bad situations with your service dog when you try to go somewhere, right?
Yep.
Every time I remember, because I'm bad with my memory, every time I remember and I have a positive situation, I try to thank the business. I try to make a post on my page and say, I had a great experience. They understand the ADA at this restaurant, and they treated us like human beings, and it was wonderful. Every time. There's a couple of restaurants. There's a little Mexican restaurant in Cadillac, Michigan, in a strip mall, and called Little Mexico. And man, their food is amazing. And the first time Skeeter and I went in, they said, "Is that a service dog?" And I said, "Yes, he is." And he said, "Okay, thank you very much. Have a seat right over there." And they never batted an eye. And they defended me. There were people saying, "Why can't he bring this? That dog shouldn't be in here." It's a service dog. You need to stop talking. The waitress actually, because she was the owner, she actually said, "That's a service dog, and you need to stop talking." Little Mexico in Cadillac, Michigan. Great restaurant, fantastic food, ADA positive. I'll throw their name out. I'll call them out all day long. It's awesome.
In a good way.
Food. Dude, they had this dish that's like you could have chicken or shrimp. Shrimp is better. And they take and carve half of a pineapple, like they hollow it out, and then they fry up the fish with the shrimp with chunks of pineapple, chili peppers, spices, onions, and rice, and they fry it all up, and they stuff it back in the pineapple, and they bring it out to you. And it is the best, most delicious thing you've ever eaten in your life, man. It's so good.
Stop, you're making me hungry.
Tacos. Time for tacos.
Well, with that, guys, I think we're going to end this Frag Out segment. And let's take another look at something else that's going on.
Yes,
Frosty, you had a little something about some VA data sharing. What's up with that?
Well, there was something that went out. I saw it on several pages last week before, about the VA wanting to share medical records onto this cloud-based system, so that be easier for outside providers to access your records. Well, they were going to do it without getting any, what do you want to call it, consent from any of the veterans that they support, that they take care of. They were just going to do it, and you had to opt out. But a lot of veterans never received the notification, such as myself, or if their only time they saw any notification was through Facebook posts on pages such as PTSDog.
I got the letter 3 business days before, including the day of, before I was supposed to opt out in person physically.
And I still never have received anything about it.
And let's get this straight, like JJ just mentioned, you had to opt out in person. So somebody that's, say, up in Barrow, Alaska, which is 3,000 miles from where the nearest VA center is here in Anchorage, they have to do that in person. They couldn't do it electronically.
Nope.
On a form that's not valid until November 1st of 2019. I remember seeing that part about it.
Yeah. The form wasn't valid until November 1st, and the opt-out date was September 30th. And if veterans got notification, it was 3 business days before they had to opt out. And most veterans haven't received notification yet. But the good news is
it's been delayed until January 1st of 2020 to give veterans a chance to opt out due to several litigation going on about it from several different groups, all filing lawsuits to try and get this stopped.
And the major concern here, and I think it's very valid, is the way this information system sharing is working is there is a nonprofit, non-government organization that is acting as the information broker. And they have no regulation or oversight to prevent them from selling information to the highest bidder. Say a state government who would like to get the names of all veterans in their state who have a diagnosis of PTSD so they could, say, apply a red flag law to them.
Very easy for HIPAA violations.
I'm saying there's a possibility that it could happen. And that's the concern.
And a very, very serious concern at that.
Well, but not only that, but the VA's already had major data breaches of veterans' medical records already.
Multiple
times.
times.
Throw some third-party, nonprofit yahoos into the mix to transport my medical data safely. The VA can't even transport my medical data safely. Now we're going to send it to somebody else outside of the system and then send it back to somebody. Really?
Heck, they can't even get it from one end of the building to the other.
Shit, they can't even get it from one VA to another. If they
That's a
really
true
want
statement.
to share veterans' medical information appropriately, look, I moved from Michigan, where I was enrolled in the VA. Well, I moved from Colorado to Michigan to Oregon to North Carolina. None of those VA systems are connected with the other system. I had to sign paperwork in order for each VA system in each state and each little region in the state. I was in the northern region of Michigan. I had to sign a release form for the northern region of Michigan to send my information to the southern region of Oregon. And then I had an appointment in Portland, which is the northern region of Oregon. I had to sign a release for them to give my information to Portland. There's all the VA. Why aren't they sharing it all in the same system? I should be able to walk into any VA in this country and have them pull up my records and see everything right then and there. The VA can't even do that. Now they want to give our information to some third party? Really?
Well, add to that, up here, the VA facility is attached to the Elmendorf Hospital.
Uh-huh.
And for 90% of the procedures that they can't do in-house, they send you across the other side of the fence to the base hospital. They can't even get information across that line
and you can
without having to sign 15
right?
forms.
Like, it's walking distance.
Yeah,
Yes.
the building, it's connected.
Yeah.
The building, it's actually the same building, just different sides of the building. Well, there's I should say it's a breezeway between, but
Yes.
they're connected.
Yeah.
Yep. Or what about those like myself that are, kind of dual, that have TRICARE, but also, at retirement, sent their stuff over to the VA just in case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a say.
Yeah.
So, there is some scary situations and stuff that are going on here. So obviously, hopefully, anybody that's listening here will, make a wise decision and what's best for yourself and take matters in your hands. Because if you fail to do nothing, they're going to do it for you.
There are two, and another concern is the way the new opt-out form is written. There are two different opt-out forms. I don't have that information in front of me. I'll make sure that I get it to you, Frosty, so you can get it on the Frag Out page when it airs.
I have the forms listed here. One is a VA form 10-10164, and that's the release of information to the nearest VA medical center. And the other one is who want it restricted to specific information, VA form 10-0525.
Right.
And the
But in the
opt-out
lawsuit, that opt-out form, there are some concerns about that opt-out form because the way it's written, by signing the opt-out form, it could opt you in. This is important that we follow, as veterans, we follow this lawsuit pretty closely because the way that form's written doesn't make sense with the legal terminology. And we all know how the bureaucracy at the VA likes to twist that legal terminology to fit their needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Be sure to, when you're doing these, be sure you read your forms closely to make sure what you're signing and putting in the boxes.
Please.
And always maintain a copy.
Look,
Definitely.
look, if you don't understand what you're reading, because let me tell you, that the letter that I did get informing me about this was dense, and I couldn't carve my way through it. Reach out. There are veterans out there who do understand what it says, can explain it to you, and can explain the concerns to you. Where have I seen some posts? Boone Cutler's page is a good place to go to ask.
That's where I got the update on it.
Yeah, it was Boone Cutler. He's I guess he knows the veteran who is the lawyer who filled out the injunction. So there's a connection there, and they talk to each other. So there's good comms there.
Probably most of your service organizations will have somebody that can help you get through them.
I know that I'm pretty sure Vietnam Veterans of America also are partners in the lawsuit. So contact them. I think that's who I saw was mentioned, named as part of the people who filed the injunction.
Looks like AmVets is involved.
Yep. Reach out. Look, if you can't, I can read dense law. I mean, I've read Titles 2 and 3 of the Americans with Disabilities Act in their entirety. This letter makes that look like a kindergartner primer. I mean, this letter is whoa.
Are you trying to say a Marine wrote that?
No. I'm trying to say, an educated Navy veteran couldn't read it. It takes a law degree to understand what the fuck it's saying. That's what
okay.
Like, reach out and find somebody who you trust who can understand it. Because I can't even wade my way through it, and I'm not a dumb guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying I couldn't carve my way through it. It's so densely written. So find somebody who can explain it to you. If you can't find somebody who can explain it to you, ask somebody to help you. Please don't get bamboozled by the VA. Again, please. I'm sorry, man. Bohica is the VA, bend over. Here it comes again.
And that's just not the doc.
No, that's not the doc.
That's not the proctologist either.
They might
We're talking
not
about
even be wearing gloves, and they don't believe in lube. That's all I'm saying, man.
Make your recruiter look like I don't know.
Well, it's time to wrap up this episode of Frag Out, Drag Out. Be kind to one another. Support one another. If you see your brother doing something you don't feel you can support, be a brother and tell the motherfucker. That's what I got to say to finish up the show.
Respecting and loving your neighbor can give everybody a good feeling.
Rossi?
Well, I know we've hit on a lot of tough subjects, not just in this show and a lot of our other shows. So if you need help, reach out to somebody. Remember, there's all kinds of different organizations out there that are willing to help. If you reach out to our page, we'll probably refer you to somebody else because we don't have the resources, but reach out. Operation Zero and other groups are ready, willing, and able to help you out in a heartbeat.
And if you don't have it, download the Objective Zero app.
I say Objective Zero, not Operation.
Yes.
Marine.
Can't get anything right.
You got anything to wrap it up?
Urban Dictionary, True Blue Falcon, a bastardization of two contradictory terms. True Blue is dated naval and sailing term meaning honest and loyal to a unit or cause. Blue Falcon is used in the modern army to designate a buddy fucker. So for all you guys out there, do not become a true Blue Falcon.
Cue the cheesy inspirational music!
That's all we got this week, everybody. Thank you for joining Frag Out, Drag Out for another exciting episode. Special guest and Joaquin Juatai, PTSDog. Thank you, brother. That's right. Coming in. To everybody else, bye-bye.
Laters.
Bye-bye, Seymour!
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
TV Radio.